Gary, you're running.
Yep.
Yeah, Brendan's got one with you. Yeah, I need 13.
You want something to drink, water, anything else?
I'm fine for now.
You sure? All right. If that changes, just let us know.
Okay. You want chips or anything? Sure. What do you want? Surprise me.
Like the mystery meat?
If you guys can print out a copy of the City of America, Georgia, like the map, so I can like pinpoint something.
Okay. Of Georgia?
Yeah.
The state?
Yeah. The City of Americas, Georgia.
Americus, Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll do it.
All right.
America's Georgia?
Americas.
Americus.
Yes.
Did you want some? You wanted chips?
You can give me something to drink too. That's fine.
Okay. You want something different than those?
No, that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
And this regular Coke okay? Or you
Yeah, that's
want
fine.
Coke Zero or Diet?
That's fine.
Right there. All right,
Alright.
here. Sorry, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Detective Wallace.
Yes, how are
I'm
you?
Detective Neals. My first name is Steve.
Melissa, nice to meet you.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
I talked to Mr. You want this open? Or you got it open already? You good? I talked to Mr. King, and I talked to the detective in Florida, so obviously that's why we're here. I know you want to talk, and I want to listen to what you have to say, and I'm willing to answer questions. You know, if I can't tell you something, I'll just tell you. I can't really tell you that. But we got to go kind of through formalities. You know, you're not free to go. You're hooked to a law. Have you ever been read your rights before?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not going to change anything for you. It just, I think it's important, especially since this might involve a couple other states.
Yeah.
I think we should probably do it the right way. What's it, the 12th or 13th? I say it's 12th, isn't it? Oh, you're right, 13th. I doubted you. Otherwise, how's things going?
Everything's going all right.
And where are you originally from?
Me? Right here.
Born from Virginia or Arlington?
Arlington County.
What part?
Glebe Road.
Did you go to Lee, or where'd you go? Yorktown?
I went to Wakefield.
Wakefield, okay. Now, have you lived here the whole time, or do you live different places at different times? Or?
I lived in Michigan for a year.
How'd you like that?
Cold. I came back a year later, but I was going back because my mom was sick. So.
How's she doing?
From what King tells me, she's doing all right.
She says hi.
She does. Thank you.
I was talking to King, and he put her on the phone. He did a three-way. Are you going to see my baby tonight?
That sounds
like her, yeah. So I said, she's worried about you getting out and somebody causing harm to you. So, you know, she's concerned, which I think she should be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're concerned too, aren't you? Yeah. So, you know, we talk to the right people and see what we can do for you. We can't make any promises.
No, I know. That's why I'm like, I've had a lot of time to think, and more than anything, I want to bring peace, at least as much peace as I can, to Derek's family.
Right.
That's the least I can do.
Right.
And
they would appreciate it. I talked to the sister, I think it was the day before yesterday, and they're real struggling.
And I know,
you know, it's rough for them. Like it would be for you. It would be for me too.
So.
I'm gonna ask you a couple of stupid questions, okay? It's not to offend you, or
you're fine.
just to get a kind of a base of what you are. How far have you gone in school?
I graduated from high school.
From Wakefield?
Yes.
Do you remember what year?
It's 2012.
You reading and writing English, okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I know you're in jail, but have you had any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
You never know, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Do you take medication on a regular basis?
I'm taking now my HIV medicine again, so
Okay.
that's good.
And is that, in terms of understanding, does that affect your understanding, your mental capacity
No,
at
not
all? Okay. But is that something you take on a regular basis?
I wasn't. I fell from it, but I started back.
Since you've been at the jail? Okay.
I started
How often do you take that?
once a day, every day.
And you have any symptoms with that? Is that messing your head up or stomach up or nothing?
Nope.
Good, okay. If you have any questions when I'm reading this, let me know, okay?
Okay.
But this says on September 13th, 2018 at 8:58 p.m. in the Arlington County Police Department. That's where we are. Like I said, we're from Fairfax County,
Right.
but we're in Arlington County right now. You were advised by Detective Needles of the Fairfax County Police Department that he was investigating the commission of a crime of homicide or murder. Okay? And these are your rights. You have the right to remain silent. You're not required to say anything to anyone at any time or to answer any questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you do or say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer before being questioned. You also have the right to have a lawyer with you while being questioned. Do you understand that?
I understand.
If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be provided for you.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
If you want to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering questions at any time, and you also have the right to stop answering questions at any time if you want to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
You understand all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, since I read these to you, I'm going to initial here,
Okay.
and then what I'd like you to do is read this. You can read it out loud or to yourself, and then if you agree with the statement, just put your signature there.
I know I'm over it, so I wanted to make a statement without a lawyer present. I understand and know what I'm doing. The promises of that have been made to me by anyone.
All right. Tell me about, how do you know Derek? Like, how did that start?
My husband and I were in Florida. Supposed to be on vacation, but we got stranded.
Okay.
And we were at the library, and he had found Derek on a site called Grindr.
Okay.
And Derek invited us over to pretty much smoke, because he knew we were going.
While you're in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay, what part of Florida were you in?
Tallahassee.
Okay.
And so we went over there for a little bit, and then we smoked a little. It was me, my husband Terrell, Derek, and one of Derek's friends named Olaf.
Olaf?
Yeah.
Like Olaf from Frozen?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly how they did it. I didn't know what they were talking about until they talked about it. But we were all there smoking and stuff, and then Derek ended up taking us back to our hotel at the time, which was the Motel 6. Right
In Tallahassee?
Yes.
Okay.
And this was actually around the 4th of July. And so after we checked out of our hotel, we had no more money. And so then Terrell ended up asking Derek if we could come back there to pretty much chill until we figure stuff out. And
At his house?
Yes.
Okay.
And Derek said, yeah, I don't mind, da-da-da. And so then, long story short, me and Terrell got into a big argument, like a huge argument. And Terrell was pretty much hitting me. And then I ended up was like, I called King and I asked King, I said, you know what, I'm done. Can you get me a ticket back home? I don't want to deal with this anymore. Terrell can go,
And who's King to you?
King is my father's friend.
Okay, so just a friend.
Yeah, close family friend. I call him my uncle, stepdad sometimes. Right. So pretty much he was like, yeah, just go to the Greyhound. Luckily the Greyhound bus station is like 2 blocks away. So I go to the Greyhound, it's pouring down raining. I'm standing outside, and then Derek drives Terrell over to where I am, and Terrell comes out, he snatches my grandmother's phone, and pretty much was like, what do you think you're going? I need to call my mother, I forgot the number. And so he had my grandmother's phone. And so then I was like, well, you're not going to, you can't just take my grandmother's phone. And he was like, well, just get in the car, da-da-da. So I ended up getting in the car with him anyway. And so then Terrell he had bought a little $20 phone from CVS. So he ended up taking that phone from CVS back to CVS so we can give Derek more gas money. Because Terrell's mom agreed to pay Derek to bring us to Americus, Georgia. Well, no, to Albany. I take that back.
To Albany, Georgia?
Yes, to Albany, Georgia. So when we got to Albany, Terrell calls his mom. She's at a picnic. And so Terrell cusses his mom out. You're supposed to meet us in Albany, da-da-da. So they got into a big heated argument.
So is Terrell's mom from Georgia? Is that why you're going to Georgia?
She's from New York, moved to Virginia, then moved to Georgia.
But she currently, that's why you guys are going to Georgia?
Yeah.
So Terrell see his mom and get some money?
That's where we end up moving to.
Okay.
And I'll get to that part a little further down. And so Terrell goes inside CVS. So me and Derek are talking. And so Derek told me that he got on Terrell about, fighting in this house because he knew Terrell was wrong, because Terrell always starts the arguments with me or fights with me. And so then Terrell got back in the car. I'm smoking a cigarette. Derek's smoking a cigarette. But he doesn't give Terrell a cigarette. And I already knew that Derek kind of liked me more, but I didn't say anything. And so then when we're driving, and then him and Derek kind of got into a little...
Liked you, or liked you as a friend?
He liked me.
Liked you, okay.
and so then him and Terrell kind of got into it because pretty much Terrell didn't feel like he should pay Derek any more money, because he was like, I gave him, gas is cheap. And so he was like, I gave him $30 already, why should I give him more money? And so Derek was like, well, you know what, I'm doing this on my own time, I'm doing this on my own time, da-da-da, you're acting like you're ungrateful. And he was like, I'll drop your ass off at the Dollar General right there, and da-da-da. And so Terrell was like pissed, because no one ever talks to him like that. And so then... Nobody
talks back to Terrell?
Yeah, nobody talks to him like that, because I don't know what it is, but he can sometimes be intimidating. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, even though he seems like he comes off soft, but he can be very overbearing. And so then Derek let it be, but Derek still drove us to the picnic where his mother was supposed to be. We got there, she was gone. because it was pouring down again. And so then now Terrell called his mom again, he calls her out again. So then we finally pulled up to the house, and that's pretty much how we met Derek. Derek dropped us off in Americus, Georgia. Down the line, Derek and I were still texting, and so then I got...
So, like, what's that time frame?
That was July, the 4th of July.
That whole weekend? Or that week of
It was
July
It
4th?
was around July 4th, yeah. After that, Derek and I were still talking. I got into it with Terrell really bad, to the point where I left. I left, and Derek ended up picking me up. I was outside for a while. I was talking to my family. I was like, I just want to come home. I'll walk, because I don't want to be anywhere where I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And so that was that, and I was gone. And so Derek ended up driving an extra hour from Americus, because I ended up being an hour away, because I was trying to get to the Greyhound bus station, but the person who dropped me off at the wrong state. It was a gas station. You know how they go to the gas stations? He dropped me off at the wrong gas station. And so I called my family. I was like, oh, please just send me some money for something. But they were like, we're trying to get you home. And so then my mom's check didn't come that day. It's supposed to come the next day, so I was getting pissed. And so I finally buckled up and text Derek. I was like, well, can you come pick, you said I can come to Tallahassee. I know the Greyhound's right there, it'd be easier. And so he was like, you know what, I'll just come pick you up. So then Derek came 3 hours. He was like, are you going to sit there for 3 hours? I was like, well, I have no choice. So I sat there for 3 hours right outside of, what's that place called in Georgia? It's like an hour outside of Americus. I can't think of it. Buena Vista, maybe. I don't know. But I was there, I waited. So then I ended up going to Tallahassee. But my biggest fear was that my husband going to know that I went to Tallahassee.
Because where's Terrell this time?
Terrell's still at his mama's house.
And his mom's house is what city?
Americus.
Okay.
And so then that was that. And so I ended up going to Tallahassee. And so then I was doing fine. We weren't doing drugs or anything. And so then my mother...
In Tallahassee?
In Tallahassee.
Right.
Me and Derek weren't doing drugs or anything. Derek was trying to help me figure out whether or not I wanted to go to Michigan or was I going to take my husband back, And so then my mother sent me money to buy my ticket to go home to Detroit. And so then Terrell got on the phone with King and just started telling him everything that we were doing before we even came to Florida, and that's meaning like my drug use and everything. And I was totally against, my thing was, if I'm your husband, don't send me under the bus like that to my family. You're telling them I'm shooting up, and I understand you did it out of anger, out of spite. I can see if you did it out of concern, but you acting like you weren't doing it too. That was my whole thing. And so then I was pissed with my husband to the point where I cut everybody off. I stopped talking to my family because they were taking his side, and I couldn't understand why. And so then finally, I don't know what it is, I do it every time. I come to the point where my husband, somehow he's able to wiggle his way back in, and I always seem to I pull him back in, because every time I leave, it's like he finds his way back in, because I try to do it up here too, and even now, not now, but before now, and he wiggled his way back in. And so then one day I had some more money left, and so then I asked Derek, could he rent me a U-Haul, because I knew he wasn't going to let me drive his car around by myself. And Terrell convinced me to drive up to Americus. And so I drove up to Americus.
In Derek's car?
No, U-Haul.
In the U-Haul. Okay.
I drove up to the Americus in the U-Haul to pick Terrell up, because at this point I'm like, okay, well, Derek offered me a place to live. I know Terrell's mom's house is crowded. It was really crowded, and I hated being there. It was the worst. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can have them fix, I always try to fix relationships. So I was like, maybe I can have them just talk it out, and Derek can see that he's not that bad. And so then, so I go to Americus, I drive up there. I have to admit, I was a little high driving, and so I got up there. I picked Terrell up. Derek's out at this time. He's already cussing me out because I'm already late getting back with the U-Haul.
Because Derek's still in Tallahassee.
Derek's in Tallahassee. He's driving Lyft at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling Terrell, when we get back, don't, just whatever you do, don't get smart, because that's Derek's whole thing. Like, Terrell has a smart mouth. And so I'm like, don't get smart with him, just let me try and talk to him first and explain why you're there, da-da-da. And so then we get there, Derek's not there, so I'm like, well, where the fuck is Derek? Because it's damn near 3 in the morning. And so we get there, kind of find out Derek was out driving Lyft. And so I was like, okay, well, he's still trying to make money. So, because tough times was getting tough for Derek, which is why I was like, okay, well, maybe we can move in and help him with the rent, da, da, da. And so then Terrell's in the bathroom, and finally Derek comes in, and that's when stuff kind of went south. Keep going?
Mhm.
Oh,
So when he comes and gets you, when Derek comes to America the first time and picks you up and brings you to Tallahassee, is that after the 4th of July?
yes, that's
And before you rent the U-Haul?
Yes.
So you go back to Tallahassee, you were trying to get back to America, so you talk him into renting you a U-Haul.
Well,
Or he offers to rent
He
you.
offers to rent me a U-Haul.
Because he
so I
needs
can
his
drive
car.
around. Yeah, he needs his
Right.
car to drive left, and so I can just drive around.
So when do you go back to Americas?
He got me the U-Haul around maybe 4 o'clock. I drove back to Americus maybe around, it was probably around 8-ish.
No, on like what day?
It was the same day he got the U-Haul. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
so the same day he rented the
The
U-Haul.
same
Okay,
day
that's
he
fine.
rented- Yeah, the same day he rented the U-Haul is the same day I went to Americus. I went to Americus, picked Terrell up, and came right back because that trip alone.
And you brought him with you?
Yeah, I brought him
Right,
with me.
okay.
That trip alone was, the truck had to be back by a certain time, and so I promised Derek the truck van would be back by 5 o'clock that morning. So I was trying to make sure the van was back, and so it took 3 hours to get there and 3 hours to get back. So
But didn't you end up returning the truck somewhere else?
in Americus,
Okay.
and I'll get to that.
Okay. So you're back in Tallahassee now.
Back in Tallahassee
And things
now.
aren't going well with
Things
Derek.
are, so we're back in Tallahassee, and I'm in the living room, and so Terrell's in the bathroom. Derek hasn't seen him yet, but he's like, "Who's in the bathroom?" I didn't want to tell him. I was like, kind of gonna let it be a surprise, hoping that he wouldn't get pissed. And then I hear them arguing a little, like they're like, "What the fuck?" And I guess he said something that pissed Terrell off. And Derek had this bat that was by his bed, and Terrell picked it up and he hit Derek with the bat. And at this point, I'm like, what the fuck? Because all I hear is like...
In the apartment?
In the apartment.
Okay.
And at this time, all I hear is... And then I hear Derek scream. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? What did you do? Like, what are you doing? And then after that, it was like, I'm like, okay, so Derek's sitting down, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do now. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. And so
But Derek's alive?
Derek's alive at
Okay.
this point.
He's just been hit upside the head.
He's been hit inside with a bat.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, now I know Derek's probably going to be, like, he's pissed at me because I know why the fuck would I bring Terrell? And I wasn't expecting Terrell to do anything like that. Because he gets violent, but only with me. Or if someone says something to him to provoke him, like he does with our other friend, Kirk. But at this point, I'm outside. And then I guess they got into it again, and so at this point, he's like kind of on top of Derek, and he's choking Derek with like it's not a tie. It was kind of like a belt, but not a belt. He's choking Derek, and Derek's like, it got bad, and so then at this point I'm nervous. I don't know what the fuck to do because I love my husband, but at the same time, Derek was a friend, and so I'm torn. And so then, at this point, we're scrambling. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do now?
What's Derek doing?
Derek's done. He's dead now.
In the apartment?
Derek's dead in the apartment.
Okay.
And it just so happened that one of his friends, had texted Derek's phone, and Terrell had the phone and responded. And he always does. He has a thing for people that's like down low. My husband does, and so he responded that we were two down low people chilling with Derek. The dude had to come back later. The dude kept pressing that he wanted to come chill. Told him.
Is this from Grindr on a message on Grindr?
This is a message from Derek's phone.
It's
Just a
the
text
actual
message.
person,
Text
person to
message,
person, okay.
person. His name was Damo or something.
Okay.
And so him and Damo were texting, and so then at this point I'm like, okay, well, the car and the U-Haul's out front. And so I was like, okay, well, let me just go move the car back to the parking spot. So that's what I did. And then eventually Terrell went out and got the U-Haul and brought it around. And that's when he wrapped Derek's body in a rug and put it in the back of the U-Haul. And after that, we ended up driving. I drove the car, he drove the U-Haul back to where his mother lives, and then he found a spot around there to put the rug, and we dropped the U-Haul off at the U-Haul around from his mom's house.
Okay. And is this truthful?
Yes.
I mean, it's a little different from what you told King.
I guess because we only had 40 minutes. I tried to tell him as much as I could.
But I think depending on how things go, you could be in a pretty good position, but you definitely hurt yourself if you lie.
Yeah,
because
I
remember, you have to overcome that first statement that you gave the
Yeah,
police.
the first
That's a lie.
The first thing that I gave, first I was extremely pissed at how, I was just really pissed off because it was unexpected and
You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready. I didn't understand why they said they would arrest him. And the officer who arrested him was very, very mean to me at first. Like he told me, like it was just too much.
Right.
And so then, and I did vow to my husband that if anything, because he's not built for this. I told him that I would take the rap because I know that I did tell him that. And so I told King as much as I could because King talks a lot. And so he kept asking as many questions.
No, but I mean, the first time the police interviewed you, the day you got arrested
right.
on the failed
I told them.
you told them some crazy story.
Oh, I told because at the time I wasn't going to say anything because at the time I was never going to say anything until when you have a lot of downtime to think, I'm like, well, you know what, my mother's not getting any better, and so I'm like, and then King, as I'm talking to King, King's like, he's seen a picture of Derek's mom, and she's not looking that well. Because they're all worried and everything, and it kind of got to me, and I prayed a lot about it, and I said, you know what, no matter what happens to me, I can at least give them a peace of mind, and let them, that's why I asked for the map, so I can do my best to show you where.
Sure. Do you know what street she lives on, or like where in America to narrow it down?
She lives at 603 Eastview Circle.
603 Eastview?
Yes.
Okay.
Americus, Georgia, 3070919, something like that. And
603 Eastview Circle, Americus, Georgia.
yes. And that first story, both our first story. His was more.
Yeah, his was more crazy.
But I scratched the whole story. It wasn't nowhere near true.
All right, so I know it's not comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
But go in your mind. Go back to the apartment.
Right.
You first see Derek get hit with a bat.
Yes.
And who hits him with the bat?
Terrell hits him with the bat.
Okay. And what kind of bat is this?
It's an aluminum.
Okay. It's like a softball bat, a little league bat.
I have no idea.
It's a bat.
It's a bat. It's a bat.
Okay. So it's just a regular like baseball bat.
It's a baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, the bat's. We still have the bat. The bat's at Terrell's mother's house.
Okay. And where did you get the bat from?
It was Derek's bat.
Okay. So it was already in the
It
apartment.
was already in the apartment.
Okay. Do you remember where it was in the apartment? Like where did Terrell pick it up from?
Derek kept it right by, like, his bathroom's right here. He kept it right by the bathroom door, against the wall, like tilted against the wall.
Okay.
It was more so decoration than anything to me. That's
right. Okay. So do you know what they were fighting over?
More than likely because Derek really in his heart, kind of like my friend Kurt, doesn't like Terrell. And they all want me to leave him. For whatever reason.
Everybody wants you to leave Terrell.
Yeah.
Okay.
More so because me.
Had you hooked up with Derek already?
Yeah.
Did Terrell know that?
He figured. I'm pretty sure he figured.
I mean, do you guys have like an open relationship or?
Not. It's not supposed to be open now.
Okay.
But
there's indiscretions from time to time.
It's discretion from time to time.
Right.
But he kind of figured that I was in Tallahassee, and he knew that if I was in Tallahassee, more than likely I'm staying with someone, and so he kind of figured, he assumed more than likely. I did tell him down the line,
right.
This is what happened.
So did that cause any grief between Terrell and Derek? I mean, was Terrell jealous of Derek at all?
He was jealous because he stole his man. And
that's what I mean, exactly.
Yeah, in a way he felt like he felt like Derek was taking me away.
Right. So was that what the fight about, or was there something specific that was said that they're fighting about?
Well, it was almost instant that it happened. So
he comes out of the bathroom and boom.
Well, they're talking for like a split second. So I'm thinking that Derek's laughing.
But you didn't hear the conversation.
No, I was out in the living room. Right. And so I'm thinking that he's laughing, but he wasn't laughing. They're actually arguing a little, and next thing I know, and Derek was small, so it's kind of, I was like, oh. Now that I think about it, that's what I'm thinking, like, it still kind of bothers me. It always have, it actually hunts me now. That's why I wanted to get out of America, is because behind Terrell's mother's house, big ass graveyard. I used to sit out there and I used to like see it. Just it's not good.
Yeah.
Um,
So after he hit him in the head with the bat,
Yeah.
or where did he hit him? In the head or the body or
in the
where?
head,
Okay. What happened?
Derek screamed and
Was there any blood?
no blood at all.
Was Derek knocked out?
He fell, but that was about it. He helped him up and helped him sit down, and he was just
Okay. So what did he sit down on?
he sat on the bed
Okay. So was that in the bedroom or living
in the
room?
bedroom.
All right. And then what happened?
Like I'm trying to like calm the commotion, and like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go outside to smoke a cigarette, and I go outside to smoke a cigarette, and then I come back in, and like they're kind of scuffling again. I guess Derek might have tried to like go for like his phone or something, because they're scuffling again, and that's when like Terrell's choking him, and so
And this is in which room is this occurring?
this is kind of like in like the doorway of the bedroom and the living room.
Okay. Are they connected? The bedroom and living room
Yeah.
close by?
They're like it's like you walk from the living room to the bedroom.
Yeah, I've never been there. So
Oh, yeah, I'm
is it a
sorry.
small place?
It's very small.
Oh, okay. So it's like
So
a studio type apartment or one
'cause
bedroom?
It's a kind of like a studio one bedroom because it was an old apartment from like the early 1900s, and so it's that you walk in. There's the living room, the bedroom, the bathrooms, and the whole bathroom's in the living room. There's a workspace over here. Then the kitchen is like in the back.
So that when you say, it's not like you're going from bedroom to living room, but it's like right on top of each
It's
other.
right like they're right on top of each
Okay.
other. Like actually, was there a door? I don't think it was a door. It may have been. I don't remember if it was a
Okay.
door.
So do you see him get the belt from somewhere or?
No, I don't see him get the belt from anywhere. But
Okay.
there's closet is like right here. I don't know who's belt here. I honestly don't know.
And how did he have the belt?
It was like tied around, like it was not like
Like around his neck or like
it's like if you put.
demonstrate?
I'm the one who took it off. Like I took it off.
Okay.
So if you take a belt and it's like you loop the belt, like you loop it in,
Mhm.
and like you just pull it, and so that's kind of how it was. Like
Okay, so it's a belt that has the two kind of
I think-
halves,
I think-
like half moves, and one goes through the other, and you pull it.
no.
Or is it like a regular belt?
A
like
regular
this?
belt, like,
So
yeah.
he puts it through one side
Yeah, and just
and then
pulls.
cinches it
Yeah, he's
like that?
pulling it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking at the time that he's probably just trying to shut him up because that's what brought me back in. Is I can hear the commotion, so I come back in
And where are you smoking a cigarette at?
right outside the front because I spoke to it's a lady who lives in the front apartment. I spoke to her, and then as I'm hearing the commotion, I go back inside, and so that's when I'm like, what the fuck? Because then Terrell actually had like blood on his like hand. Because then that's when he actually started realizing what he was doing. And he got hysterical because he had the blood on his hand.
Was there any blood in the apartment or anything?
No, just on his hand. Because I guess he might have like choked or something,
Mhm.
and the blood came out and it was on his hand, and that's when he got hysterical.
So at what point did you know that he was dead?
When I tried to go, like when I moved the belt, I was trying to I was touching him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not responding, and I don't know what to do, and so that's when.
What's Terrell saying?
At this point, Terrell's crying now because
Okay.
he's realizing what's going on and realizing that.
Has he ever killed anybody before?
I hope not.
I mean,
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
No, not to my knowledge. And so
Right,
at
okay.
this point, I'm like, okay, well, something that was so small. I mean, hit him with a bat. I mean, he could have got in trouble for that as well. But it turned into something 10 times bigger, and now we have to try. I'm just brainstorming at this point, but we just did kind of what we
Just reacted.
Just reacted.
So whose idea was it to get the carpet?
That was his.
Okay. Where did you get the carpet from?
It was right on the living room floor.
Okay. So there should be a carpet missing from the living room floor?
Yeah.
Okay. What color was it? Do you remember?
Honestly, I don't at this point. I think it was.
Was it like
I think
a
it was red.
throw rug or?
It's like a. It's a throw rug.
You know, like it's not like
It's not
stapled
like-
into
no,
the
it's not stapled
ground.
down.
It
It's-
sits on top of.
Yes.
What's that apartment? Is it hardwood floor? Is it tile? What's the flooring in that house?
It's carpet on, but he had like a carpet on the.
So you had a carpet on top of the
Yeah.
carpet. Okay. And that carpet, you guys used that?
Right.
Okay.
And so he wrote him up, and then
You didn't put him in anything else, like to the body and anything else, just rolled him in the carpet?
Just rolled him in the carpet.
Okay.
And so then, at this point, he told me to bring.
You guys are both doing that together?
We
Okay.
actually both did that together. And so then he's like and so I brought the U-Haul like to the back for him. And at this point he's doing his best to carry the rug to the
Is his feet sticking out or anything?
no. He's doing his best to bring the rug out of the door, but it's like really heavy. I didn't know something could be so heavy. And so then he's at the door. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you? Because it's broad daylight.
Right.
And so we ended up doing it and struggled doing it. And then
So you take him out in broad daylight?
Yeah.
What time of the morning is this, or daytime?
this is probably it's like 9, 10 in the morning.
And when did this whole altercation start? Like during the night or early in the morning?
It was probably around 5 or 6. I'm not sure. I can't really remember.
So it happens on the same day that
Everything-
you drove back.
Yes.
So you and Terrell get back from Americus to the apartment.
We got back around 3 in the morning.
And how long are you there before all hell breaks loose?
Probably like an hour and some change.
Okay.
And so, because I went out there the night, like I drove out there at nighttime, and then Terrell actually drove back, because I was too tired. So he drove back, and we were just sitting there chilling and everything. And so we put the body in the U-Haul, and we ended up.
What kind of U-Haul is it?
It's the van.
Just U-Haul van?
Yeah, U-Haul van. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not driving the U-Haul. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Plus, I didn't want him driving the car.
And that's the only thing that's in the van is the body and the rug?
It was a mirror in the van, and that was it, I believe. Yeah, I think that was it. And so,
And what was the mirror?
it was Derek's. He was going to give it to his mom.
Oh, that was in the van already?
No, he was in the house. Because basically, we came up with the plan that basically would make it seem like he left town. And so that's kind of what we did.
So you loaded stuff in the van to make it look like he was leaving town?
Well, van and car.
Okay.
That he was moving to some point. And so then, so we ended up driving around Tallahassee for a while. And then I was like, you know what, it's not a good idea for you to be driving around with the body in the back of the car van. Not to laugh, but I'm just being honest.
It's true, right.
And so then I was like, you know what, you might as well just drive home. And so we're driving home.
And you're driving?
I'm driving the car.
Derek's car, okay.
And he's driving the U-Haul. And so then he had directions at first, his phone, but he didn't have a charger. And so at this point, we're probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours into the drive. And the first thing he did that pissed me off was he pulled off and was like, something's wrong. I'm like, well, maybe Derek's still alive or something, because he pulls off on the side of the highway. And so I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm thirsty. I'm like, you're thirsty? And so I got pissed. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you do something like that? You know, it's just too much going on. So then I throw him something to drink and I just keep going. And then we needed to refill gas. So I pulled in, he pulls up with the U-Haul. And so we're getting gas. And that's at Flash Food. Gas, it's called Flash Food down there. It's a gas station on the way to Americus. And so then he leaves. I give him, he's like, well, the phone's dying. So he was like, okay, well, he took Derek's phone. And that's why you'll see the calls from Derek's phone to my phone on that day, because he was calling me to check to see where I was, because at this point he pulled off without me.
Because you have Derek's phone.
No, he had.
I mean, he has Derek's phone.
So he's calling my grandmother's phone at the time, and trying to check and see where I am. And so then I'm like, well, you pulled off. He's ahead of me. Was supposed to be ahead of me, but he wasn't. I don't know how he ended up behind me, because I ended up beating him to his mother's house, because he never even took the van to his mother's house. And so then I'm like, well, what's going on? And so I'm like, well, where are you? Which way did you go? And so then he's driving. So long story short, I ended up going to his mother's house. He wasn't there. And so then his mother pulls up, like, oh yeah, how you doing? Da, da, da. And whose car? I didn't explain anything yet. And so then Terrell's like, he's driving around looking for somewhere. And so that's when he found the spot to place the rug or carpet, whatever you want to call it. And that was that. And so then I still was like, you know what, you still should return the U-Haul instead of just letting it sit there. So returned the U-Haul, and at some point...
So who returned the U-Haul?
Terrell drove it up to the U-Haul.
And just left it?
I
Or
called.
he go in?
No, he dropped it in the key box.
Okay.
There was a man leaving, and then we asked, how to return
In
it.
Americas?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he pretty much was like, just drop it in the key box, and then we'll take care of everything. Because I called to ask, should I drive back? Because I don't know. I just called to ask. And so she was like, we'll take care of it. And so,
Sure.
we did that, and then at some point I made the decision that I didn't want to be down there anymore. I just wanted to come home. I wanted to go home to my mother because it was just too much. And that's pretty much it.
So tell me about where you guys buried the body.
It's not buried. It's just wrapped up in the carpet, and
Is it on his mom's property or just near there?
it's near there.
Okay. And where's the bat?
The bat's in his mom's house.
Do you know where in the mom's house?
We've been gone for a while, so no, it's somewhere.
Does his mom knows what happened?
I doubt it.
But she didn't say why you keep leaving this bat here?
No, we left a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't be.
Who does she think that stuff is?
She thinks it's ours, but
Okay.
Terrell also grabbed. He grabbed. He was trying. So he grabbed. It might be some papers that belong to Derek as well. I'm not sure.
Do you recall seeing a Florida State bag?
Florida State.
The family says there's a Florida State bag missing that was Derek's, and like Derek's wallet and all that stuff.
Nah, I'm not sure. It may be in the house.
Okay. Do you remember if Derek had shoes on?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think so. He could have. I'm not sure. I honestly don't remember. Probably not, because they used to make you take off your shoes when you first walk in, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, when I was talking to King today, King made it sound like that Terrell did something else and it happened in Georgia.
No, I didn't get to tell him. Like, I couldn't talk in depth.
Oh, so you didn't tell him all this?
No, he doesn't. I didn't get
Okay.
to talk in depth. It happened in Florida.
Okay, so it definitely happened in Florida.
It happened in Florida.
It happened in Derek's apartment.
In Derek's
But
apartment.
there wasn't anything you had to clean up or
No.
like the police down there, how will they be able to know for sure it happened in that apartment and that you're not just making this up?
They can probably.
I mean, there wasn't any blood anywhere that you guys cleaned up, or did you use any cleaning supplies to clean the place up? So there wasn't a mess at all?
No mess at all. But yes,
Quick
ma'am.
question. You had mentioned that Terrell had blood on his hands. Do you know where the blood was coming from?
Derek's mouth.
Okay, so, but not enough to get on any of the surfaces of his apartment that you can think of?
Honestly, I don't know if it did.
And when it got on his hands, what did he do with it? Did he wipe it on something? How did he get the blood off his hands?
I think he washed his hands in the sink. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember how he got the blood off his hand.
Okay.
I know he was he was really hysterical about it.
Mm-hmm. Was it a lot, or was it just a couple
It was-
specks? How would you
It
describe
was like a enough to cover like this much of his
Mhm.
hand, and he looked, and that's what made him kind of like break down is when he saw the blood.
And that was coming from the mouth?
Derek's mouth, yes.
Okay.
Was Derek saying anything while Terrell was choking him?
He was like scrumming, but he couldn't really hear because he's like scrambling for, I guess, that.
Did he ever say anything between the time that after he was hit in the head and to the time he was being choked with a belt?
He was crying. That's pretty much it.
But he never said any words that you
No.
remember?
Not. It's been a lot. And honestly, I was coming down.
And
I was high, so.
Okay, so and that's what I was going to ask you. So just about you, were you high on that night?
Was I high on that?
Yeah.
I got high during the day, but I drove to Americas, I was coming down,
Mhm.
and then I fell asleep in the car, and then I didn't get high again until we got back to Americas.
Okay, but at the time when Derek was hit in the head with the bat,
Derek was not high, no.
okay, were you high?
No.
Okay,
I was coming down.
You were coming down, so what, like hours-wise, when was the last time you used that day?
Last time I used, probably it was a couple hours before, a few hours before.
And that was in Americas?
No, I got high before I drove to Americas. And it was like a lingering.
So how long does it take from Tallahassee to Americas?
It's like 2.5 hours.
Okay. So when you went up there, picked up Terrell,
Yeah.
did you get high while you were there?
No.
Or you got high before you left?
I got high before I left.
Okay. So you picked him up. How long did you stay in
I came right
Americas.
back. I came right back because I was gonna take. We were supposed to get the U-Haul back by 5 a.m. and Derek made sure that he elaborated that to me, and I didn't want to break that because.
So you're trying to get back.
I was trying to get back
to get the U-Haul back.
To get the U-Haul back. Yes.
Okay. So you came back, but in between there, you didn't use anything.
No.
Okay. And when you got back to Tallahassee, did you use anything?
No.
Okay. So you're just coming down off the high.
Yes.
And what were you using?
I was using crystal meth.
Okay. You smoke it or snort it? What do you
I
do?
shoot it.
You shoot it? Okay.
We all shoot it.
Okay. In terms of when everything was going on, did you know what was going on? Could you comprehend what he was doing to Derek?
I can comprehend, but I didn't think that it would get as far as it got.
You thought they were just fighting?
I thought they were just fighting because that's the same thing that he does to me, and it does not. I mean, he never gets that far, but we have gotten to that point where.
Has he used a belt on you before to choke you?
No, he hasn't. He just choked me before.
Okay.
But I mean, we've gotten to it pretty like while I'm here now. We got into it. I mean, he hit me first, but I hit him a little too hard, and
that's why you're in jail now for
Yeah.
fighting with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, he'll tell you he hit me first. I just hit him back, and that's why we're here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, so at the night in the apartment in Tallahassee, was he intoxicated or high?
who?
Terrell.
I don't know.
I mean, had you seen him use it at all that day?
I didn't see him for very, very long. I mean, I only.
But you were in the car with him for
Yeah,
2.5 hours
he drove
back.
I fell asleep on the car right back.
So he drove.
Yeah, he drove.
So he was able to drive a car.
Yeah, I was able to drive up there too. So.
Right.
Yeah.
How bad is your all's habit? Like how much do you use a day?
It all depends, honestly. It all depends on the access to it and whether it just all depends.
But are you functioning when you're high?
I'm not. We're never high to the capacity where we can't do anything.
Okay. So usually when you're high, you can drive.
Sometimes.
Okay.
A lot.
Well, on this particular day,
most time, regardless, we're always still paranoid. Paranoia is always the thing.
yeah.
But
Well, man
we
thinks
still-
you're paranoid.
Yeah, but we're still able to drive. Yeah.
Okay. So on that particular night, he was able to drive back from Americas to Tallahassee. You fell asleep.
Yeah.
And you woke up and you got there safely. No
Yeah.
accidents, no issues.
Yes.
You get there, you're hanging out at the house for an hour or so,
Yeah.
and then they have their little disagreement.
Yes.
And it goes toxic.
It goes toxic. Yes.
Is any part of that not true?
No, sir.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt.
No
He
doubt.
was killed in Tallahassee.
No doubt at all. I submit to a lie detector now.
Right. And in terms of when you guys take the body,
Yes.
you roll them up in the carpet. You guys are doing it together.
Yes, we wrote them up together. Yes.
Okay. And how is he? Is he crumpled up? Has he laid
He's
straight
laid
out?
flat.
Okay. And what's Derek wearing? Do you
Clothes.
remember?
He's just still wearing his clothes.
I don't know. Do you remember what clothes they were?
That's so long ago. It's something I did, trying to kind of push to the back of my
Yeah, but it's probably not
It's
like
just
this happened in your life
t-shirt.
before, has it?
I know it's t-shirt and jeans.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of jeans he wore?
No,
I mean, designer or just
just regular.
Walmart or what?
Just regular jeans. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
you don't
Blue
know?
jeans, black
I
jeans,
think
skinny
they're
jeans,
blue.
ripped jeans.
I think they're blue. I don't.
Okay.
Did you know if you remember he had shoes on or socks on? Or?
That part I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think he had on shoes.
What color was the t-shirt?
I want to say it could be red or gray. I really don't
Okay.
remember.
Do you remember what color the carpet was that you rolled them up in?
The carpet was red or brown. I think it had maybe a mixture. It was a couple different colors.
And was it big enough that he would fit in it?
Yeah.
Like no part of his body was sticking out of it?
Well, you could see the feet if you like. Truly
If you were looking at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're short.
Right.
It's like 5'4".
Right.
But you could see it.
Okay. All right. So when you get him into the van and you drive around Tallahassee, you eventually get to Americas.
Yeah.
Does he show you where to go? Or he
yeah,
tell you to meet you somewhere? Did he text
ended
you
up-
or what?
We were actually getting into it because I could not find him. And at the time, I'm thinking like, what is he doing? Is he out
Getting into it over the phone? Or?
I'm getting to it over the phone.
Okay.
And so I'm like, where are you? Like, are you? Because in my mind, I'm like, well, I know he is not being a whore at this moment. Because that's the first thing. Honestly, that's the first thing I think. I'm like, I know he can't possibly be a whore at this moment. And so then, eventually, he pulls up on me and he's like, follow me. And so I was like, eventually I asked him, how the hell did he find the spot? Because I'm like, this is a weird spot. And I know, like...
Was it back in the cut, or where was it?
It's back in the cut. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, who the fuck did you fuck? I asked him down. I said, who did you fuck back there? Because it makes no sense to how you would find the spot. And
right.
He was like, well, one day when I guess I pissed him off, he went on a walk and he was able to find this random... I mean, I guess it's not random because his house is right there. But.
Right. Okay. So when you get to that spot, does he kind of tell you what to do, or
he just backs the van up and he just asked me to help him get it out, and I was like, "Are you sure that?" I mean, you can kind of see. You can see, like he was like, "It should be enough because no one comes back here." You know, he used to live there years ago. So like, no one comes back here, so it should be fine. I was like, "All right."
So did you help him take him out of the van?
Yeah, I had to help him.
Okay. Do you remember which end you had? The head or the feet?
I don't remember which way it was. Honestly.
Okay. All right. And who decided where to put him?
He did, because that's his territory, his neighborhood. I didn't know.
So did he dig a hole or do anything?
It's a big, like, I don't know what it is. It's like thorns, like tall thorns.
Okay.
And he just put it he drove the van and like backed it up into it.
So he backed up the van into the thorns?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much. And then actually I went out to the door because he's in the van. So I went out to the back door and he was like, okay, he was pushing it out. And so then it kind of just fell out, like kind of went like right into the spot where it is.
Okay.
The shit's still there.
And you just left it there?
Yeah.
Did you put anything over top of it or try to conceal it in any way?
No. It's just there. It's still there, more than likely. But he did want to. I was against it, and that's why we didn't do it. He wanted to go, before we ended up leaving, he wanted to burn it.
Right.
However, I was against it. Even, we wanted to go back down there.
Right.
But I didn't want to do that. I just couldn't do that.
Right.
I wouldn't do it. So that's pretty much.
Yeah. So then after that, what did you guys decide? Did you come up with a plan of what are we going to say to people when we get stopped? How are you going to cover it up or make it look like you just decided to leave on his own? Like, what did you guys talk about?
Everything just kind of came about. We never actually really talked about it. But I told him that if anything, because I have a thing, I don't know. I kind of have a thing where I fall for like the person I'm with a lot, like hard. And so I told him that if anything, I would take the blame for it because I do love my husband. And here, that's why I went to the mental health unit. Because I was so worried about him being locked up that I couldn't function. And so then even in here, when he told them my grandmother had passed away, the jail.
Is that true?
No, my grandmother did not pass.
Right.
And so I'm like, what's going on? So they tell me this, and so he can call. And he called on the lawyer phone. And so I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? And it's his uncle first. And his uncle's like, did they tell you? And I'm like, they tell me what? And so then he was like, wait, I'm gonna put Terrell on the phone. And that's when Terrell was like, he got bonded out and everything, and shit was really about to hit the fan. And I was like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'll take care of everything. I made a promise to you. I made a vow, and I would keep that vow. And I was gonna do that until I kind of prayed on it, and I made my cell by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm sitting in my cell, I'm like, you know what? If anything, I'll still take my share of the blame. However, I don't want people thinking that Derek OD'd, because that's nowhere near true. Derek did not OD. And I was telling King that when King told me that, I said, that's bullshit. Derek did not OD. I don't want them thinking that he was so strung out. Derek was using, yes, but Derek did not OD.
Was he using meth also, or heroin?
He was using meth as well.
Okay.
Derek didn't do heroin.
Okay.
Derek never touched heroin. And so that's why I was like, when King told me that, that's when I kind of got pissed off. And I'm like, he OD'd. That's totally false. If anything, when they find the body, they're going to be able to tell that he did not OD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, you know what? Have the detectives call me or whatever it is, because I'll tell the truth. Because if anything, I just want to give, more than anything, I just want to give his mother peace, let them do whatever of course, accordingly.
You don't think Terrell's going to blame you?
He can. I mean, it's totally fine, but there's no way possible that I was able to do that by myself. No way possible. And so that's why I was telling you, I can't drive 2 cars. I can't lift that body by myself. There's no way. That's why I'm sitting there saying I take my share of the blame.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to own up to his as well. I mean,
What do you think that you're guilty of? Like,
Well,
what do you think you're responsible for?
I helped him wrap the body, and I kind of helped. I mean, I helped in some way, form, or fashion because I participated and I didn't call the authorities. I know that.
Did you hit Derek with the bat at all?
No, I didn't know. I never hit Derek.
Ever?
I never.
And that night?
I never hit Derek. Never had a reason to hit Derek. Derek saved, to me, Derek saved him. That's why it kind of hurt. That's why when my first time talking to detectives, when they left out, I cried because I knew that I was lying.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of hurt me that someone that tried to help me got hurt. And that's like...
Okay, he could see your relationship with Terrell was bad.
Pardon?
Derek could see that your relationship with Terrell was bad, and he was trying to help you.
He was trying to help me, just like my friend Kirk, where we got arrested.
Right.
After we got arrested, we both got out on bond. The day I got out on bond...
And we saw you all walking down the road.
When I got on bond, we got into a fight because he was pissed that I called him a whore because he disappeared out of nowhere, and Kirk was already pissed that he showed up at his house. Kirk was extremely pissed. It's like, you didn't call it out. So then Kirk told me to decide, and so I said, you know what, Kirk, it's your house.
Kirk's the guy in Centerville?
Yes. I said, it's your house. Do as you please. If you don't want him here, you can tell him that. I'm not going to have anything to do with it. So he told him that. They got into an argument. Terrell left. Terrell took something that belonged to Kirk, and Kirk was pissed. So we went out looking for Terrell. And Terrell popped up out of nowhere. And so I'm like, where the hell did he go? He said he was in somebody's house drinking because he was drunk. But as I walked away, all I feel is a punch to my face. And from the entrance of that all the way to the pond, because he tried to throw me off of the thing where the pond is into the water, because he was drunk. But he was fighting me, and I'm like, stop! We just got out of jail. Like, I don't want to fight. And it was to the point where Kirk came out and had to pull him off of me. And then Terrell just laid out in the street and started crying. He was like, I'm drunk. And then Kirk's trying to convince me that Terrell was faking. Like, Terrell's not drunk. He's just trying to call for attention. Da da da. And so then I'm like, you know what? Kirk was like, just leave him. I'll get a hotel. Just leave him. So Kirk got us a hotel, and I was like, you know what? Terrell threw up, and I was like, I just can't leave him here. I said, that's my husband. Let me figure it out. And so then I was trying to figure it out, but I just couldn't leave. Even now, I don't want to leave my husband, but we're too toxic for each other. There's too much negativity. Even now, I mean, they're calling me Price. That's not even my real last name. My real last name is Brown.
Brown, right?
And so, they call me that. And it kind of, I don't know. It's a lot. There's still a lot on me, and I'm battling with all of that. And King begged me. And he's like, what is it? Just tell me what happened. No judgment. No judgment at all. I won't tell your mother, I won't tell your father. And that was my biggest concern, because my mother she has a bad heart.
Yeah.
She has an LVAC and all that. And so my biggest thing was I didn't want him to tell her yet, or then what's going on. I didn't even know that she was in contact with you guys or anything. And so, he came up here today, and he's looking at me. He was like, so is Derek okay? At first, I just couldn't say anything. He kept asking. And then he was like, I promise there's no judgment. There's no judgment at all. Just tell me what happened. And he's like, because I feel like Terrell's not telling everything. He knows something, and then Terrell wants my grandmother's phone, and he just wants all this stuff from me. And he has my grandmother's storage key, because he just wants a lot. And so I was going to release everything, and then I just stopped, because I don't want, that's just a whole nother, I feel like it's taking it to a whole nother level that I don't want my family they're already in enough.
Where's Terrell now?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to him since he was able to get through and that shot.
Well, who's his uncle?
His uncle he just got out of prison, did 20-something years.
You don't know his name?
His name is Jermaine Kyle.
Jermaine Kyle?
Jermaine Kyle Price, yeah.
Lives in Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Springfield, I think.
Okay, so he lives locally.
That's who Terrell's.
You think he's staying with him?
That's where he's supposed to. Yeah, he asked King to pick him up to take him to our storage unit. So I don't know where he's staying. Honestly, I haven't talked to him since that day. And
where were you guys staying before you got locked up?
Before I got locked up?
Yeah, you and before this fight.
Before
The fight here in Virginia got you. Why you're in jail now?
Well, Kirk said I could stay with him, but Terrell couldn't stay.
Right.
But I didn't want to do that, and so we kind of been bouncing around. I got money from my grandmother, my allowance, so I got us hotels and stuff, and then a couple nights we'd just be outside. So, but his uncle bonded him out. He told me the uncle had put him on, basically like house arrest, and that I know his uncle lives in Burke. That's all I know. But I know, I thought he was I know he talks to King, so I know they talk every day.
Do you remember?
My uncle. I call him my uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I know you meant.
Yeah.
Do you remember the driving the car? Like after you drove it from Americus all the way up to Baltimore to Virginia, you kind of drove it all around the place, right?
Yeah, we drove around.
Right. Like while you're driving it, you didn't think, "This is not good. I'm driving this guy's car," knowing what you know.
Yeah, I mean we knew.
And you didn't come up with a story what you were going to say if the police stopped you in the car? I mean, you figured at some point somebody's going to miss Derek, didn't you?
It told me to print out a bill of sale, and I did so, but I never filled it out.
Okay.
He cussed me out about that. He was like, "You can say that the car
For the car?
He said, you can say the car was sold to you, but my thing is, my husband had a license, I had never had, and so I just left it alone. And so then I was gonna take my grandmother to Michigan, and then just figure it out from there. But then the car had cut off. I found out down the line what happened, and so the car just completely cut off. And then
Who helped you push it that day?
Terrell.
Just you and him?
Yeah.
Right. Did you put anything in the car?
No, well, I took my grandmother to the store.
Right.
She didn't know anything. But I took my grandmother to the store, and I came back, and the car like cut off when she was in the store. And so then I was like, "Well, Grandma, just go back to the house. I'll figure it out." And so then we ended up Terrell pushed the car into like a lot, and then we just left it there.
Okay. Do you remember putting anything in the car?
Really, like anything.
Like a message?
Like what do you mean? I'm trying to find like a message, like
Literally a message.
There was the police had put something on the car. They had put something like notifying us that the police were looking for Derek.
Okay.
They did it a couple times, and so then I took a sticker and was like, it had like a laminator sticker. I was like, everything's fine, just leave me alone.
Right, okay. So you did that?
Yes, I did that.
And that was on the dash?
No, it shouldn't have been on. It was on the window. Everybody got moved from the thing to the dash. Yes.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't when I saw the car. It was on right across the dash.
Yeah.
And it says, "I'm okay. Need some time alone. I'll be home on a certain date," or something like that. Do you remember? Is that the label you made?
No, it was. This should have been a little short one that was on the window. Now, if another one was printed out, I'm not sure, but I know it was a short one. I never put one on the dash. I don't remember putting one on the dash because I just put it on the window because I knew the police couldn't get in the car.
Right.
So I put it on the window.
And what did it say on the window?
It just said, it was similar to that one, but it wasn't that long.
Okay.
I gave a date to when I would be back in Tallahassee because I knew that would never happen.
Right.
So it should have never had a date on it.
But the message that you left on the window,
Yeah.
that was to kind of give the impression that I'm still alive, I'm okay.
It was to give them so the police would just leave the car alone.
Right.
It was just so the police could leave the car alone and have them thinking that he was going to contact eventually. Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Since you've been kind of in and out of Fairfax and out Arlington, has Terrell been doing any dirt anywhere else?
I'm not. I
I mean, you're with him a lot,
like
like credit cards. Getting kind of close to guys and taking their identity or taking their property or taking this, taking that.
Well, I know.
I mean, it can't get any worse than it gets right now.
I know that he did to Kirk. I know he did do that, and I told Kirk it was me because I knew Kirk would not let him back in because Kirk invited me back after all that. But I knew that if Kirk knew that it was Terrell, that he would be hysterical. Like he would not accept him at all. So I did tell Kirk it was me, and I kept it that way. I to this day.
Has he still been doing it though?
Not to my knowledge.
Like when you guys are getting meth or whatever, are you getting it locally or were you getting it
We're getting that locally.
in Arlington or where?
It depends. I mean, I know a lot of people. I've been doing it for a long time, so I mean.
Would you talk to somebody if they wanted to talk to you about that? Who's someone who's maybe a little bit more knowledgeable about locally?
What do you mean, like a narc kind of sort of?
Or just it could just be another detective who works in Arlington. I don't work in Arlington.
Arlington doesn't really.
Because at this point, I would think you want to do anything that'll help you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean,
Nothing can hurt you at this moment.
I can more so give. I mean, I know people in Fairfax, Morris. Fairfax. I mean, I know them everywhere. So
Right, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
And this is kind of one big area anyway.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think there's some people who might want to talk to you.
If they want to talk, I mean, if I can help, I will.
Right.
But
you can't think of anything else.
No.
Terrell hadn't killed anybody else, as far as you know.
No. I know he
Has
has.
he beat up anybody recently?
Recently, no.
Within the last month?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Besides me.
Right.
Besides me, but I do know that he has a problem with straight people, meaning that he goes after straight people, men.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, like me, is HIV positive. Now, he has a pending case in Prince William where he's been accused of giving them HIV.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go to court for that, but I guess they might have dropped it, I don't know. But I do know that happens a lot, and I try to talk to him about that because, I mean, it's not that hard to get undetected. I mean, I'm not undetectable now, but I don't do that.
Right.
And so that's pretty much.
When you said he doesn't like straight people, do you mean?
No, I mean he doesn't like them, but he has a thing for straight men.
Mm-hmm.
Like he loves someone that's straight or down low, or he says that he has an infatuation with pulling them in, trying to see if he can get them. And spent a couple. One of them was somebody I was in rehab with, and I was pissed because I left and they're downstairs. They're getting high or whatever, and so the boy's straight, and so then the boy ended up calling Terrell one day. I was like, "What the fuck is this? I hear you have HIV." I don't know what they did to this day. Neither one of them will tell me.
I'm gonna see if I can get that map.
But he would not tell me, and so I pretty much told him. I was like, "You have nothing to worry about. If you guys didn't have sex, I was like, Terrell's fine." I didn't want to tell him because the boy would have probably beat him hysterical. But he does have that problem with.
Do you think he is? If he knows he's HIV positive and do you think he's trying to spread it purposely?
I don't think he's trying to spread it purposely. I just think he's horny.
Yeah, and he's not being responsible.
He's not being responsible.
Okay.
I mean, I've had my slip-ups like that too. Right. However, I don't mess with anybody who's not HIV positive.
Right.
And we all know, like, everybody I mess with, we know each other's status.
Right, okay.
And so I don't think he's doing it intentionally. I just think he's honestly horny.
Yeah, so he's not thinking at the time.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to go back a couple questions.
That's fine.
I think Detective Needles touched on it a little bit, but as far as anything else Terrell's doing, like any scams on Grindr where he would meet someone, they meet up like they're going to hook up, and then he beats them up and takes their money. Anything like that that
no.
you know of?
Not at all.
All right, so no like credit card stuff through that,
not to my knowledge.
Okay.
However, I mean, now he does have his own phone and Grindr account.
Okay.
And we're never really separated that long, but when we are, I don't know what he's doing.
How long have you guys been together?
I married him 2 months after knowing him.
Like legally married him?
Legally married him.
Wow, okay.
Which was the worst mistake I could. We both admitted that. However, I was not ready. I was still doing me. I just came home from jail, and I was doing me, and I just didn't want to settle down.
Yeah.
But I saw that he really liked me, and I eventually grew to love him, and then I ended up stopped cheating. And when I stopped, he started. And so then it got to the point where he wanted to have a threesome with someone, and the person was his ex. His ex is deaf, and so then it got to the point where the ex liked me as well, and I ended up having an affair with the ex. And so it got to the point where this one particular day, we were all chilling, and that was like probably one of the worst ass whippings I ever got. Like, he was beating me in front of the ex, and the ex is deaf.
So it sounds like he's pretty abusive.
He is.
To you.
Yeah. But when I always say that I don't like to fight. I never did. I'm too pretty. But it takes it takes a lot for me to want, like, you have to really like hit me really hard, and like if I had a black eye when I got here, and so he hit me hard, and that's what made me hit him back. And so I never started. Never do I start it. And so then it's so many people that tell you like they had to pull him off of me because I don't know if he blacks out or what it is, but he has, I don't know, it's not like he has a vendetta against me because it's my husband and he loves me,
Right.
I hope, but I just sometimes don't know what it is. He kind of said he envies me because in a lot of situations more people tend to go to me over him. That's why you don't have to feel that way, because there's never competition. Ever is there a competition. If you feel that way, then that's something personal that you need to work on. And I know he has his insecurities and he deals with his depression, and I try to be, I know it doesn't help when I go out and cheat or have an affair, but and I have a very bad mouth towards him, and I try to do better with that because I know that it doesn't help. All it does is fuel the fire. And so that's what I thought we were doing when we got into this last fight, is we were trying to do better. We were doing so good. But 2 days straight, I mean, we were fighting. Like, I mean, it was more so because we didn't have a place to go. And it kind of builds up.
Stress.
And builds up the stress. And my family always asks, why are you the one that has to provide everything? Like, I call my mommy. I'm like, Mommy, can you order me a pizza to the library? And so she's like, well, how can his mom order a pizza? Like, I just sent you some money. Grandma just sent you some money. Why is it always you? And then I was like, it's not me, it's us. And, and it got to the point where we're sleeping at the storage unit. We got caught with that because he wanted to go outside. And then I went downstairs to wash up. And the guy was in there like, where'd you guys come from? It's 6 in the morning. I'm like, oh, shit, the storage room's closed. And it's a lot of stress. And I think that...
sounds like a lot of drama.
It is. And so I alienate myself from everyone, and I just try to fix everything because it feels good to know that you're kind of wanted and dependent on. And that's how I felt, because he can't do nothing without me, it seemed. He's surviving now.
So even though he would hurt you,
Right.
you would still be drawn to him
Right.
because he needed you.
Right. And so it feels good to know, like, when I was gone, he would call and cry, like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, at first I was like, well, you need to learn. You're grown. What did you do before you met me?
Right.
He had a job. He was doing this, a lot of stuff. But then all of a sudden, when he met me, everything was on me. I had to I was working. I mean, I used to sneak him into my job and let him sleep in the apartment. 'Cause I worked there as a concierge. And it was a lot. And I'm like, and so it was a lot on me.
Yeah.
And so I made a decision, and I was like, you know what? You just can leave. I don't know. And so then now I'm like, you can go take care of my mom and get paid for it. It's a free place, free room and board. My mom was, for the longest, she said, no, just you. But I had to convince her, because I just said I was not going to leave him. Because I felt like if I leave him, what is he going to do? Who can he go to? But the truth of reality is, he has family. He's surviving now. His uncle bailed him out, not me. His uncle's not going to bail me. No one's going to bail me out. And I said, you know what? It's good for me because I'm being rehabilitated. I'm off drugs, which feels good. I actually felt good. I feel good and relieved right now that I was able to get something, because I couldn't talk to anybody for the longest. And so now I'm a good nap. But I feel relieved that I can. And it's like a weight off my shoulders. And that's the honest to God, the truth, that it's a weight off my shoulders.
Good. There was a couple things, Steve, that I wanted to touch base on. Just real quick, I know he was saying, making sure you're telling the truth and this and that. So there's just certain facts that you can tell us that we can pass along that make sure you verifies that you're telling us the truth. So just a couple things. When Derek was hit in the head with the bat, which part of his head was hit? Do you remember?
It's the front part.
The front right or the front left?
I believe it's like right. It was like right in the front.
Right in the middle?
It was right in the front, because I mean, you could see them kind of like talking, and all I saw was like it was right in the front.
Did it break the skin at all?
No, it didn't break, no blood. It did like kind of lump up.
Okay, so there was a lump, but it did not break the skin.
It did not break the skin, no.
Okay. So You never touched the bat at all, correct? So DNA tests.
In Georgia, we kind of unloaded the car,
Uh-huh.
so I may have moved it out the car, but Terrell's fingerprints are definitely on it.
Okay, so your DNA may be
It
on
may
it
be on the bat,
because
but
you
I'm
may
not.
have moved it.
I may have moved it out the car, but I don't believe that I did, but I may have moved it out the car.
Okay, and what part of the house did you guys store the stuff in his mom's house? Where would that bat?
It's right in the living room. As soon as you first walk
So
in the
she
door.
would just keep all that stuff right there.
Our stuff
She-
is our stuff is in the corner, unless because there's a lot of people live there. So unless someone else moved in, which I doubted, all our stuff should still be in that living room in the corner.
Okay.
Like as soon as you first walk in the door.
Okay, and then the belt. Did you ever touch the belt at all?
I took the belt off of Derek's neck because I was trying to see whether or not he was still.
Is the belt still going to be in his apartment?
The belt, I don't remember taking it off. Like I loosened it, but
Is it still around his
it
neck
may
right
still
now?
it may still be around his neck.
Okay. And what does the belt look like? I remember you were.
It's kind of like the one you have on.
Okay.
Black. I think it was black leather. Yeah.
So the belt should still be around his neck.
It may still be
in
around
the carpet.
If it's not around, it should be like still either. If it's not around his neck, then I did take it off. But I don't remember lifting his head at all.
Okay. And when Terrell was strangling him with the belt, was he standing behind him, in front of him, to the side? Do you remember what the action was?
It's kind of he was on top of him.
Okay, so.
It's kind of like he's like you're holding like if I had you're holding you're pulling it.
And so Derek would be looking up at him as he was pulling it from the front?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then cinching it down from the front?
Yes.
Okay.
So if he was looking at him, how was he on top of him?
He's like sit like you're like pulling.
Okay, so Derek's sitting in the chair or sitting
No,
on
Derek's
the
on
bed?
the floor.
Flat
At this
on the
point,
floor?
Yes, on this point he's
Okay.
like flat on the floor.
And so he's straddling him?
like it's like, kind of like a horse kind of.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And then pulling up.
You're pulling up like pulling like the belt buckle like down into his neck, like pulling it, so it's
Okay.
like tightening up. Yeah.
And that's the point that blood started coming from Derek's mouth?
Yes, like because Terrell's hand is like right there pulling, like
Uh-huh.
one down, like
Uh-huh.
the blood was like coming out of his mouth.
Okay, so was it streaming down the sides of his face then? If Derek's
It's
laying
coming
down on
like-
the ground?
Like Derek's like it's like on his, it's like coming out, yeah.
Coming
but
out of his
it's-
nose or his mouth?
His mouth.
Okay, and then since he's laying on the ground, is the blood flowing back in this direction?
I didn't see any like flowing back. No, it's kind of like coming like down because Terrell's trying to like shut him up. I think that's
Coming
what.
down his chin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just made a cupping motion with your hand?
Yeah. So
was
he's
he,
like
was he covering
he's
something?
pulling like the belt is being pulled,
Right.
and Terrell's trying to like shut him up. Like the belt is pulling, and he's trying to like shut him up. And
Covering his mouth?
Yeah, that's why I think the blood got on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see any blood like on the side or
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay.
Were you covering his mouth? That way you
No.
don't have to listen to it?
No, I wasn't covering his mouth at all. I didn't touch him at all in that way. No, because I didn't think anything would get like that.
How'd you know he was dead?
When Terrell got off of him, like Derek wasn't screaming anymore. He wasn't like putting up a fight at all. Because Derek was putting up a fight against Terrell, and I'm thinking they're just fighting, and I'm thinking it's gonna stop, but it just stopped, like instantly stopped, and like that's when I went around like I take it, like unloose the belt, and I'm like Derek, and he's no longer responding.
How long would you estimate that Terrell was strangling?
It was less than 30 seconds.
Okay.
It happened real fast.
Yeah, it happened fast.
Did Derek's color change, or can you
Eventually-
see
eventually-
any appearance about him that looked different?
Eventually, I mean, he was kind of purplish when
Okay.
last he was purplish. Yeah.
You had mentioned on the car ride back that Terrell was calling you from Derek's phone.
Yes.
Where is Derek's phone now?
Derek's phone now. We needed money,
Mhm.
and so Terrell convinced me to put it into a what is it called? Some type of machine.
Oh, the
Yeah. Ecolab.
the Eco. Okay.
So
do you remember where the Eco machine was? Was it like in a mall, or they're usually like in malls or strip
It was
malls?
in Manassas.
Okay. Is this before you guys dumped his body, or
This
after?
is way after.
Way after.
We're up here at this point.
Okay. So the Eco machine in Manassas?
Yes.
Do you remember approximately how long after it was? Like a day or two, or like a
No,
week?
this is a while. It's probably like a week, maybe. Were we? Hold on, let me see. This is probably a day or two before the car shut off. Probably a day before the car shut off.
Do you remember where in Manassas? Can you think of any?
Manassas Mall.
In the mall.
Walmart.
Okay. You said Walmart?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the phone's in the eco machine at the mall?
It was. I don't know if it still is.
And then you were saying the car got to the place where you guys finally had to push it.
Right
and you're-
off Richmond Highway in Sacramento.
Okay, and you said your grandma was there?
She was there, yes.
Does she live somewhere around there?
No, my cousin lives right there.
Okay.
We were basically visiting. Was it my allowance day? Might have been my allowance day.
Mhm.
It was my allowance day, actually. So we were going to get my allowance for my grandmother. My grandmother needed to go pick up her prescription, so
Mhm.
that's what we took her to pick up her prescription, and then car cut off, and it was like, oh shit. How?
Where does she pick up her prescriptions at?
CVS.
Is that in that shopping center?
No, it was like one shopping thing over.
Okay. So how did the car cut off there?
It just like we were stopped. Like it was stopped at the grocery store for some reason. Like it's a
Mhm.
little corner store right there. I think she can do a player number or something.
Mhm.
We'll probably get a beer, more than likely.
Mhm.
And so then when she went inside, it's like, oh, we might as well go inside. And so because she bought us a bunch of snacks and
Mhm.
stuff. And so then we got back in the car and tried to turn the car, and the car just wouldn't turn. And I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to explain this?
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, grandma, the battery must have died. And she's like, well, I thought you said it was a new car. And so then, like, yeah, she's like, why aren't you going to, because we ended up telling her that we rented the car from a friend.
Mhm.
And she's like, well, make sure you get it back, da, da, da. So then, car wouldn't turn. And so then she was like, well, you know, I tried to figure it out, figure out how to get the car to work, da, da, da. So I called my friend Kirk to try and, he was like, I'll come see if I can look at the car. And so he didn't come look at it, because at some point I figured, I was like, you know what, they might have turned the car off, because I'm common sense to tell you, it's a new car, I don't think it's the battery.
Mhm.
And so the car just wouldn't turn on. Everything else turned on, but the car just wouldn't start.
And at what point then were you able to put that note in the windshield? Was that right then, or did you have to come back and do that?
I don't remember it being, if it was in the thing, it was already there, and I just didn't notice it, because it had to be put there in Centerville, because that's the only time.
You had the label maker,
Yeah.
the sticker thing.
It was the only time that we had put like the stickers on the car. I put it on the windshield. He might have removed it from the windshield and put it on the dashboard, so we wouldn't be driving around with it.
So that label had been made before the car
Way
broke
before
down?
the car broke
Okay,
down, yeah.
Okay.
Let me take a look at this.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, let's see. This
Here's
isn't
different views.
big enough. You have to.
Is their house a single family or a townhouse?
You gotta zoom. It's around. Actually, let's see. This is the house. So you come in right here, Mayo. Okay, so it's you have to come on Railroad Street.
Okay.
It's on Railroad Street, but I would have to. You have to.
Okay, let me see. I think we can blow it up on the computer.
Yeah. Because you come out, make the left. Because these are I think these are train tracks,
Mhm.
and you're gonna you come out, make a right. And he drove down for a while, and I never knew that spot would be there.
Mhm.
Because I thought it was a sex spot, and I was like, what the hell is it? Honestly, I was like, were you fucking back here?
Right.
And so I can pinpoint it because it's very obvious.
Mhm.
Like on a map, you'll be able to tell because it's like a cul-de-sac,
Mhm.
kind of.
So you said there's other houses back there.
It's like when he points out, you can see houses right there. And I asked him because I thought it was a camera like on top.
Mhm.
Is that a camera? He was like, no, it's not a camera. Because I was like, because I mean.
So he wasn't concerned about anyone from the houses
He
coming across the body?
He said no one comes back here. He said. I mean, he grew up like he went to school from I think 6th grade to 8th grade there,
Mhm.
so he knows like the ins and outs of the
You got a
city.
handcuff key on you. You got a handcuff key on you. Let's see who got cuffs.
When you guys were taking him out of his apartment, you said it was broad daylight. Do you
Yes,
remember
ma'am.
any cameras in the apartment complex?
He had cameras. Derek had cameras. But
Uh-huh.
he didn't pay the bill, so they didn't. I don't know if they worked or not.
But I mean, did the complex have its
No,
own
it's
camera? Did you know?
No, it's really, really old. It's like it was a four. Like it was one apartment here, one apartment here, one apartment here, one apartment here.
Did you guys see anyone like, oh shit, there's someone there taking out their trash?
It was only the only person I saw was the lady, and it was a man who just, like kept coming out. Who lived there. He lived in an apartment right across. He kept coming out, but he didn't say anything.
So no one saw you physically carrying
No.
it out?
Alright,
You want
Yep. Jump in the front.
Okay.
Do that at the point.
Oh, I'm watching.
No, we're gonna show you a computer, so it might be easier to see. You ready for him? Talk to him for a minute. I'm gonna call the Florida guy real quick.
So going back, obviously the biggest area of concern is what happened in that apartment.
Right.
So bring me through the timeline a little
I mean,
bit. So you were
They could somehow they could see. Derek drove Lyft right before.
Derek drove Lyft right before you guys got there.
Right when we got there, he was still driving Lyft.
Okay.
And so, so you'll be able to see that by the time we got back, it was around 3. His last ride was around 3 something.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure they can somehow pull that.
Pull his record, his Lyft record.
Right.
Okay. So, do you call him and we're like, hey, we're here?
No, I didn't call him at all. See where he was and anything because I figured he was out driving Lyft.
So you showed up at his apartment.
Yeah, I had a key.
Okay. So when you go in with Terrell,
Yeah.
Derek's not there yet.
No, Derek's not there yet.
And Derek doesn't know that Terrell's going to be
Derek
there.
does not know, and so I already kind of knew it. I didn't think they would get into physical, but I knew Derek was gonna come cussing. Like
Not be happy about
he
it.
wouldn't be happy unless I can, probably convince him to have sex or something like that.
Okay.
But he was not happy. he, honest to God, did not like Terrell, and I didn't think that he didn't like him that much. Kind of like Kirk, but Kirk kind of puts up with him for
So
me.
tell me about what happened. So, Derek comes home
Yeah.
from working. He walks in. He sees you two there.
No, he doesn't see us two.
Okay.
He just sees me. Terrell's in the bathroom, and so he hears someone in the bathroom. He's like, "Who's in the bathroom?" I didn't say anything, so I'm like, "Oh shit." And he was like, "You know, we gotta get ready to take the U-Haul back." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." So he goes in his room, and as he goes in the room, he was like, "Well, who's in the bathroom? Just tell me who's in the bathroom." And I was like, "Well, you might be pissed, you might be excited, I don't know." And so when I go in, he goes in the room, and the bathroom's in the room.
In the bedroom?
Yes, the bathroom's in the bedroom. And so he sees Terrell, he's like, starts going off, like, what the fuck is he doing here? You know, I don't like, you know, nah, nah, nah. And so then they start arguing, and then that's when I heard, like,
Okay, so where were you?
I'm laying on the couch.
So you don't go back into the bedroom area. You just kind of let Derek
Yeah, I just
find Terrell
I just
back
kind of
there?
find him, because could have been, I mean, it could have went either way, because I didn't think, I just wasn't really thinking, because I was coming down, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, Derek's home, we can get high again.
So you're on the couch in the
Yeah,
living room.
on the couch.
You hear them arguing?
Yeah, I hear them arguing.
Okay, and then you hear Derek saying, "What the hell is he doing here?" What is Terrell saying at this point?
Terrell's cussing him back out, like, bitch, who are you talking to? Because
And is this like right at like 3:15 a.m.?
yeah, it's a little, maybe it's probably closer to 4 something.
Okay.
Because-
So if Derek gets home at 3-ish, does it
No,
take him?
he got home probably like, it was after 3 o'clock, because we didn't
Okay.
get back to around 3.
Okay.
And so it's closer to like 3:50ish that Derek came in.
Okay, so Derek gets in at 3:50ish.
Yeah.
The argument starts around 4 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, and like you would think like neighbors would hear,
Mm.
but Derek always had like stuff going
People
on.
going on. Okay.
And so like sex parties is always like a lot of noise. He always had his music or something loud.
So neighbors aren't thinking anything
Yeah.
is out of the norm. So 4 o'clock-ish, they're arguing in the bedroom while you're on the couch.
They're arguing on the bedroom, I'm on the couch. Yeah,
And you hear,
I hear the thud.
A thud.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
and then what do you hear right after the thud?
Derek's crying.
Derek is crying.
Derek is crying.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm talking. I was like, what the fuck? He was,
So do you get up off the couch
I
at
get
that
off.
point?
I get off the couch and I go in the bedroom.
And what do you see when you go back there?
I see Derek holding his head, and he's just holding his head, and I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, Derek was like, what? Like he's crying. He's trying to explain what's going on. I'm like, okay, just sit on the bed. Just sit on the bed.
Mhm.
I'm gonna figure everything out.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm gonna figure everything out. Just sit on the bed and find out what the fuck is wrong.
So
with
he's
him.
holding his head like this?
He's holding his head like that because I guess his head was hurting, but he didn't bleed at all. And so I was kind of shocked that he didn't bleed because that was.
What made you think, since you didn't see it, what made you think that he was hitting the head with the bat? What were you seeing that made you think Terrell hit
Because
him?
Terrell still had the bat.
So was he like holding it like
He had
this?
it like down, like he had the bat down.
Okay, so you hear a thud, you see the bat, you see him holding his head, so you're assuming
Yeah,
he
I'm
hit him in
assuming.
the
I
head
didn't
with
see
the
it,
bat.
but I'm assuming he hit
Okay.
him with the bat. Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I'm like, okay, just sit on the bed.
Mhm.
Like, me when I get stressed out, I need a cigarette. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I need a cigarette. I go outside, smoke a cigarette. I'm like, just sit here.
So what is Terrell saying at this point?
Terrell's just sitting, like he's just sitting down. He comes out and he's sitting down, like on like he had like the couch is like a connector piece couch.
Mhm.
So he's sitting on like the thing, and he's just sitting there, and Derek's on the bed at this point. And then I guess
Are they now in 2 separate rooms?
they're now in 2 separate rooms,
Okay.
but the rooms are connected. So
Okay.
Derek's here, like it's not that much space, so they're like this close to each other.
Mhm.
And so that's when I'm outside, and then the neighbor walks up. Like I was talking to the neighbor for a quick second. This lady lives in the front, and that's when I hear a commotion on the inside again. And I guess Derek might have been trying to like go for his phone to call somebody to help or something, because he's probably thinking we're about to rob him or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I go back inside, and that's when the commotion got worse. And I'm noticing like Terrell on top of me.
Okay,
like,
let me back up a little bit,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry if I keep kind of jumping
No, you're
in,
fine.
but this is the time where we really need to break down like minute by minute what's going on. So, when Terrell goes to sit on the couch, is he saying anything, like any statements like, I hit him because he was coming at me, I am so
No.
sorry? He's saying nothing.
He didn't say
There's
anything.
no statements?
No, he didn't say
Did
anything.
you say anything to him, like,
I asked him like,
what
what
are
the
you
fuck?
doing?
Yeah, I asked him like, what the, like, I said like, what the fuck? That's what I said. I was like, what
And
the fuck?
no
And he didn't-
response?
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything?
Nothing at all.
Okay. Did Derek say anything like,
Derek's crying.
that motherfucker hit me?
No,
Nothing like that?
He's
Okay.
crying. Derek's crying.
So you at this point need a cigarette, and the two of them, as far as you know, are separated.
Yeah, they're separated. So I didn't think. I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna it's not gonna go any worse than it already did.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I have to try and convince Derek not to call the police on Terrell.
So you go outside to smoke a cigarette.
I'm trying to think of how to convince Derek not to call the police.
Okay.
That's in my head. That's because I'm like, I know he's probably he's gonna call for help against Terrell somehow. He's gonna get that retaliation against him somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm like, okay, I have to figure out how to convince him not to, call the police or whatever on Terrell. And I have to also convince him now why the hell I would pick Terrell up. Because I had no reason to go pick him up. He didn't give me permission first to drive that U-Haul that far.
Was Derek doing anything that made you think he was getting ready to call the police?
Well, he ended up not in the bedroom, but in the doorway of the entryway of the bedroom and the living room.
Mm-hmm.
So, but his phone was on the it's like a coffee table type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why I said he may have been trying to get to his phone.
So if you were worried that he was going to call the police, why did you go outside and leave him alone?
No, I said I was trying to figure out a way to convince him not to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't necessarily worried because Derek sold drugs too,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was like I didn't want to. I was trying to figure out a way to get him to, if he did call the police, how to convince him not to call the police, if that makes sense.
Were you worried while you were outside smoking that he may be inside calling the police?
He would wait. In my head, I'm thinking he would wait until we left. He wouldn't call while we were there.
While you were there. Okay.
I'm thinking he would wait, and then everything would come back. Once we decided to leave, if Terrell decided to leave, if no matter which ways we decided to go about it, I'm thinking I still wanted to clear it. I didn't want him getting in trouble for that,
Mm-hmm.
because that would have been I already felt like it was my fault. Everything was my fault because I should have never took him to Tallahassee.
So at this point, you're outside smoking a cigarette. Would you say it's 4:05 at this point? Because he just got home at 3:50.
It was
4 o'clock got hit.
It's going quick because honestly I can't remember the time, the actual timing, but it was going quick. It was going pretty quick. I can't really think of the timing though.
But what you're saying is you hear the commotion, you go back, he's holding his head. Terrell comes out, he's not saying anything. You go outside and smoke a cigarette. That's just a minute or two, right?
It's going within minutes. Yeah, it's going within minutes. I just can't remember the actual timing, the actual time.
Okay, but if it's going in minutes, you would have, like I said, 4:15 tops, maybe in the morning.
It could have been. It could have also. My timing could also still be a little off. I know the first message that came in from his friend is around the time that everything was kind of we're trying to scramble to figure out what to do.
And what time was that?
I'm not sure. They would have to check the log on that one.
Okay. So let's just assume.
Because at the same time, and a big problem is with Crystal, the timing goes super fast, and so my timing it can be off.
So what is 10 minutes to you could really be like an hour?
Yeah, 10 minutes could really be an hour. Well, not 10 minutes, I would say, but an hour could turn into 3 hours really fast.
Okay.
And so I'm not quite sure on the timing because I was coming down and then it happened so fast. So I'm still trying to figure. I'm trying to be as honest as I can.
No, I understand, and that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to understand what you were thinking at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like you said, just keep being as honest as you can. Okay, so you said you're outside smoking, you're talking to a neighbor, and then you hear a commotion.
Yes.
What is it that you hear?
I hear.
What distinctly do you hear?
I hear thumbling,
like furniture breaking, or
I hear commotion, the table was moved.
okay, you hear tables moving.
Like the table, it moved. You know how something pushed against something.
Yeah.
And I just hear stuff I just hear because it's really thin walls.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hear something. And I go back inside, and that's when everything was turning for the worse.
Okay, so you walk in. Tell me what you see.
I see him sitting on top of Derek's chest.
You see Terrell sitting on top of Derek's chest.
He's sitting on Derek's chest, and he's trying to stop him from screaming. For all I know, he was calling for me to come inside to help him. And so Terrell's hand is on him, but he's pulling the belt really hard to the point where I don't know if Derek may have bit his tongue or if he bit Terrell's finger. I don't know what it was, but Terrell had blood on his hand to the point where Terrell started crying after everything was over because Terrell became hysterical because it was blood, and that's what kind of made him snap. I don't know if he blacked out, snapped back into reality, and that's when he became hysterical. And I'm like, what the hell? like what I didn't understand why that kind of like threw me for a loop.
Mm-hmm. So is he on the same carpet that you all end up wrapping him up in?
Yes.
Okay. And you see him, and is Derek kicking his feet? Is he scratching at Terrell? Can you see what he's doing with his hands? No. I think Terrell's like sitting on to the point where he kind of couldn't like move his. I don't know how he couldn't move it. I'm not sure. Okay. No,
Yeah, I'm
like I'm saying,
sure.
don't guess. If you don't remember, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
But you don't remember Derek's hands coming up and trying to get Terrell off of him? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you remember him kicking at all?
Yeah, I did. His feet were moving when I came in, like kind of moving when I came in.
But were you saying anything to Terrell at this moment when you were seeing
I
this?
got Terrell off of him,
Mm-hmm.
so I could like get the belt off of Derek, because I thought that Derek was still like kind of like I thought he was still alive at that point. And when I like took the belt off, he wasn't breathing or anything.
So he wasn't moving at all?
He wasn't moving no more at all.
Okay. Did you guys check pulse, try to do CPR or anything like that? Okay.
I didn't want to, because I do know like if we try to see, I didn't know how to do that.
You didn't know how to?
I don't know how to perform CPR, so I didn't
Okay.
want to try something I didn't.
So you didn't know how to perform
Yeah,
CPR?
and Terrell at that point was hysterical from crying from the blood being on his hands. So I'm taking it was Derek's blood because he was like too hysterical, and kind of like that's what kind of brought him like back to.
Mm-hmm. Did you think to call the police at that, or 911 at that point to see if an ambulance could come?
No.
Or what was your mindset at that point as to why you didn't? What were you thinking at that point? What was going through your mind?
Honestly, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of like a shock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like we just got ourselves in something big, huge, that's gonna dramatically change everything.
Right.
And so that was my only thought.
Mhm.
And it was like, how the fuck am I gonna fix this? And that's when he's crying and he explains to me that he doesn't want to get in trouble. And that's when I vowed. I told him, I said, you have nothing to worry about. If anything, I'll take the blame.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that. I can.
What is he going to say? What is his story going to be when we talk with him?
I have no idea. He's gonna probably be shocked that I came forward, because I told him that I wouldn't. He told me not to. He told me not.
But if he has no idea that we spoke with you, what is he going to say? What's going to be his version of events?
It should be the same. He might try and alter it to save his ass, but he's gonna.
How do you think he would alter it?
I don't know how he can, because it doesn't. I mean, my whole thing is, I think he's probably under the impression that I was gonna leave him for Derek, because I ended up leaving him a little for Derek to go to Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. So I think he was pissed because they didn't like each other, but I tried to bring them back together. And so I think that he was kind of still angry, but not letting on that he was angry. He's letting me on to, oh, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna, all, party and sleep together, da da da. And so that's what I'm thinking. And I don't want to say that he was thinking something totally different, because I just honestly don't think he would. And I just honestly think he was just reacting out of anger. So I don't know I don't know what he's gonna say. Honestly, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know why he's saying that Derek OD'd, because that's totally false. Derek did not OD at all. Derek was driving Lyft at that right before all that happened, and like I said, they can check that somehow.
So toxicology in Derek's body isn't going to come back with anything abnormal?
Nothing at all.
So you guys didn't supply him with any drugs that caused him to overdose?
Did you inject him afterwards?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And that's the honest guy. I would submit to a polygraph on that or anything.
Who's this?
That's my husband.
What's his name?
That's Terrell.
Okay.
I don't know that. I haven't seen that picture, but
Can you give us a list of the things that you remember taking from Derek's apartment that you took over and dropped him off at the mom's house at Terrell's mother's house? Like you said, the bat, the mirror. Remember anything else?
Well, we took the laptop, and because I had Terrell's sister's laptop at the time I was in Tallahassee, and I no longer had it, Terrell kept trying to convince me to give it to his sister. And I didn't want to do that.
Whose laptop was it?
Derek's laptop.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do that because it was Derek's, and his account was still on and everything. I'm like, well, what are you gonna, like, how are you gonna explain it to her? And so he was like, you have to give her something because you don't have her laptop anymore.
What happened to her laptop?
Her laptop, I sold it in Tallahassee.
You sold it or pawned it?
I pawned it to a pawn shop in Tallahassee because we needed food at the time. Derek and I needed food, so I sold it. Because Derek only kept ramen noodles in his house, and I just wanted to eat. He only kept ramen noodles. He said that's all you need to survive is ramen noodles and water. And so I ended up selling it so he can have gas for just stuff we need around the house. But I didn't want to tell Terrell that, and so I ended up telling him down the line that's what I did. But he was like, "We have to give her something." I was like, "Well, I'll pay her back for it." But the sister and the cousin, as soon as I walked in, they all got on me for leaving and causing this big old commotion. Like, they all got on me in their own separate way. None of them knew why I was down in Tallahassee. They didn't know what I was doing. But he was like, well, you have to give my sister the laptop. I was like, well, I don't want to. And so the sister ended up, he asked her, he was like, well, look at this laptop. Tell me if you like it. And then she was like, oh, well, she looked at it. She liked it. She kept it.
Okay, so his sister has the laptop
Yes.
now? And what's his sister's name?
What is her name? It's, oh, God, what is, what they call her, Bot. But her real name is freaking, this is Terrell Tanisha. What is her first name? It starts with a T, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Did you guys know the passcode for her to?
No,
There's no
it's
passcode?
a Chromebook, so
Oh.
she was able to make her own account.
So when did you pawn the laptop?
I pawned it when I was in Tallahassee, way before I went back to, way before anything.
Way before all of this happened?
Yeah, it was her laptop that I pawned.
No, when did you pawn Derek's?
No, I never, not in.
The sister
the sister
has
has Derek's laptop. His sister has it.
Because he
I had to
pawned
replace.
hers.
Right, she didn't know that I pawned his. I just had to give her to Terrell. Made me give it to her because I had pawned his sister's laptop.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
So the bat, the mirror, the laptop.
The mirror was in the back of the U-Haul. It got broken when Terrell was driving it. I guess I don't know what happened.
But you said you put it in there to make it look like he was leaving,
Leaving, yeah.
right?
And the mirror was still in the U-Haul when we returned it, and broken up and everything.
Okay. And what else was taken from his apartment?
Clothes. Some clothes may still be at his mother's house. I highly doubt it. But in the corner, I mean, it may have been it may be a backpack. Everything is, as soon as you first walk in the door, right behind the door, all the stuff is right there. So whatever I don't honestly remember because we were moving fast. And a television.
A TV? What kind of TV?
It was, I don't remember.
Flat screen?
Flat
old
screen,
school?
yeah.
Okay. And that's supposedly at Terrell's mom's house?
No, we pawned it for
You
gas.
pawned it? Do you remember where you pawned it?
No.
Do you remember what state?
I'm not far from the house. It's like 3 pawn shops in the city.
In Georgia?
Yes.
But that was taken after he was dead?
Yes.
Okay. And you take it for the purpose of?
Making it seem like he moved.
Okay. All right. Anything at all you need to correct, or
No,
anything
sir.
you need to change?
I'm fine with that.
All right. So you think if we tell someone in America to go down to that area,
They'll find
his
it.
body should be right there,
Yeah.
rolled up in the carpet?
Yes, sir.
You sure it was the carpet? Could have been something
It
else?
was carpet.
And the carpet was absolutely from that
I'm
apartment.
absolutely sure, yes.
Did you have to move things around to get the carpet? Like, was anything on top of the carpet?
No, because
Or on a table,
the coffee
or-
table got knocked over, I guess, in the scuffle they had.
Okay. So the coffee table had been sitting on the
Yes.
carpet, and it got knocked over during the confrontation. All right. Do you have any questions for us?
No, very comfortable with what I said.
Okay.
I'm happy to bring closure, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, obviously have to verify your story. That's what I was trying to
That's
talk
fine.
to Florida about. You don't remember the date that you guys
It was
left.
I think it was the 17th.
That you left Florida.
We left Florida on the 17th.
July 17th?
Yes. I believe it was the 17th.
So you think it was the morning of the 17th that Derek would have been killed?
It was I'm absolutely 110% sure.
You had mentioned earlier he came home a little before 4, and you guys think you left
I
out.
think it was about, I'm not quite sure, it was around that timing though.
And then you all left like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
It could have been a little earlier than that too.
So there's still a couple of hours.
Yeah, we were just driving around Tallahassee trying to figure out what the fuck we were gonna do.
Okay, so the
'Cause at first-
incident, the
I'm
actual
sorry.
incident happened pretty quickly, and you had him, because you initially said when you were loading him up, it was like 9 or 10 o'clock because it was broad daylight.
It was daylight at that time. Yes, I do remember the sun was out. The sun was like out, but it wasn't like it was out.
Mm-hmm. It just seems like there's several
But
hours.
it's like where like Derek lives.
Uh-huh.
It's really like it's like a lot of trees and like he's like up in the cut. Like you have to go like to bring the car and stuff. You have to go like through a really tight alley
Mhm.
and then like into a bend, so you can't really see. Like it's like you really can't see.
Mhm.
So it's like a lot of trees and it's a big tall building and it casts a lot of. So I'm not quite sure on the timing. That's why I say that.
Mhm. Do you think he was dead by 5 a.m. if he got home at 4?
I'm not. I'll say yes because we drove around for a while.
Did you ever come back to the apartment?
What do you mean?
After you moved the body and left, did you ever come back to Derek's
No,
apartment?
never came back.
So you never came back at all that day?
No.
Who pawned the TV?
It could have been Terrell, could have been me, I'm not sure. Because we went a couple of times, because Terrell went the first time, and it was like, well, it's not enough gas money. And so then we went back again, and I think it may have been me, but it could have been him, because we always pawn our, like, end up pawning our stuff, so. Because Terrell pawned a shotgun somewhere else. But that was,
Where was that from?
the shotgun was where we pawned it?
No, whose shotgun was it?
It was our old roommates that he took.
But it wasn't from Derek's apartment?
No.
Okay.
That was a while ago. He pawned that in like Mississippi.
You don't remember the name of the pawn shop?
No.
But there's only 3.
It's only 3.
When you're saying in town, you mean 3 in Americas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you pawned the TV in Americas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, not in Tallahassee.
No.
Oh, okay.
You said there may be a backpack that you took out of there?
It was several several bags.
Several bags?
It was one big duffel bag which you guys got back.
We got back?
Yeah.
So what?
We have the duffel bag back?
I was told that you
What
guys
duffel bag?
confiscated all of our possessions from Centerville.
Oh, I think we do have some of your stuff, yes.
Okay.
I think
so-
crime scene took it, yes.
So you're saying one of the duffel bags that they confiscated was from Derek's apartment?
Yes.
Does it have his stuff in it, his clothing?
Yes, some of his clothes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a look.
It's like a mixture of our clothes together.
Okay.
And
Where's his wallet?
I'm not sure. And it's like a backpack or two that may be at his mom's house.
Okay. All right.
I think we're good, yeah.
Well, thanks for talking to us. Let me figure out what we're gonna do. In terms of what the Arlington guys, you gotta be walked back over to the jail. Do you need anything?
No, I'm fine.
All right.
What time is it?
Do you want us to call anybody for you? It's 10:45.
Okay, that's fine. No, I'm fine.
Eat your goodies before we have to go back.
Okay, thank you.
Might not be good as the meal you had tonight.
Oh, that thing was horrible.
Yeah.
I'll take it. No problem. The game's still on, right?
I think so,
Alright,
yeah.
I swear to catch a little bit of it. Gotta pee.
The phone that they took from you that's in property, whose phone is that? Where'd you get it?
I bought it at I just bought it from where did I buy that from?
Was it like a burner phone, like a
It's,
admin?
it's my grandmother's.
Oh, that's your grandmother's phone?
Yeah, I had to replace the one. Like I had to get a new number, replace the one that you guys took from her.
What's the hold on. What's the phone number for that phone?
313
Hold on. 313
413
413.
4191.
So that's your grandmother's phone that we have?
Yes.
So
The one.
she-
Hold on. Which phone are you talking about?
Whatever the jail took from you in
Oh
property.
yeah,
when
that's
you
the
were
phone I
arrested.
just bought. Yes. To replace the phone because I had to replace her phone.
What did you do with her phone?
You guys took it. They took it when they arrested me the first in Fairfax.
Okay, and then how did you buy another phone in between now and then?
With the money she sent me,
Mhm.
I ended up buying like a new phone at
Did you get
Walmart.
bonded out at some point?
Yes.
So, oh, okay. So then she sent you money.
Yes, she sent me money on the whatever the last Wednesday of last month, the fourth Wednesday of last month was.
Do you know the phone number of the new phone that you bought?
That's the one. The new phone is that one. The one I just gave you.
313?
413 4191.
What's grandma's phone number?
That's it. That's the one.
You just transferred the number?
I got her a new number. Right.
You got, okay.
The number before that was similar, but it was 413 282.
You said 313.
Yeah, that's a Michigan number.
313 413
Yeah,
4191
that's the new number. Yes.
that you transferred from her phone?
Yes.
So that was her phone number?
No, I had to get her a new. Like I kept the same account, but I had to get her a new number for a new phone.
Okay. So the number of the phone that we have in our property right
Right.
now is the number you gave me?
No, that one should be 313 413 2832 or something like that.
And that would have been like grandma's old number?
Yes.
Gotcha. But the one we have is 4191?
The one that they have in Arlington is 4191. Yes.
Gotcha. I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I have to pee. Trying to catch the game, you guys. Yeah. I should maybe get some Popeyes or something. gosh, I wish I'm trying to catch the rest of the game. Sorry, baby. This is one promise I can't keep. One promise. Oh my God, I got my comments. Oh Jesus, they gotta take me back. Oh, wish they come on. Taking my wreck. They ain't gonna feed me. I have to pee. And oh, Jesus, I left my damn shit on the table. No bueno. He just took my whole rack.
You okay?
Yeah.
You pawned a laptop in Tallahassee the day before the incident happened with Derek. Do you remember whose that was?
His sister, my 12 sisters.
Oh, I thought you said that happened way before.
I mean, I didn't think it was the day before. It was, yeah, it was the day, probably the day before. It could have been the day before.
Okay, so that's her laptop.
That's
She's
hers.
saying it's not the same serial number. Could it have been? Could you guys have gotten another laptop
What do you
from
mean it's not
someone
the same serial number?
as the one she had? She's saying that's not the same one. That's not hers.
Oh, what do you, The one that's in Tallahassee that I pawned is
The day before, like the
is the
16th?
sister, is Terrell's sister's.
Okay, she's saying that's not. There's no. As far as you know, that's hers.
As far as I know, that's hers.
So there's no other laptop that
There's
you
no
guys
other
came
laptop.
across.
There's no other laptop. That's the one it pulls apart and everything. That's Terrell's sister's.
Okay, all right. Hang on just a second.
No problem. Hey, Melissa. What the fuck is that? Tiana. I think they're getting confused or something. They're getting it wrong, yo. I have to pee. They're probably mixing this all up. They can't be talking no damn. Some help. Hello, excuse me. Hey, somebody's trying to come here, please. I have to pee. This thing there goes again. Oh, this is supposed to be off. He. It's really bad. The piano came. I'll probably get in trouble.
Gotta go to the bathroom?
Yes.
I told the guys, we heard you, so we'll get you going. Did you finish the
Oh, yeah,
the
I'm finished with
snacks?
this pretty much, yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to eat these?
I'm sure. 'Cause I had somebody cooking for me when I get back, so.
Alright.
Do y'all get that? Like, you understood, like, you were talking, like, it was Terrell's sisters.
Right, and I
Okay.
thought initially when you told us that you had said
You thought it was Derek's laptop I pawned?
No. I thought
Oh.
when you had told me you pawned Terrell's sisters, you had said like, oh, that was way before
Oh,
the
yeah.
incident. So I'm thinking like 2 weeks before.
Oh, no, because I wasn't in Tallahassee that long.
Okay, so it was the day before
was the day
the
before,
incident.
right.
Okay, that's all we wanted to.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure this just wasn't another laptop.
No, I only pawned one laptop.
Okay. So, yeah, I think you initially told us it was like a ways
Yeah,
before.
probably in my head, I'm thinking it's probably because the time was running together. It's
That's
probably.
fine. As long as we straighten it out, that's why
Okay.
I asked. So I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same laptop.
Okay.
That there wasn't another one. So I think they're going to end up walking you back over. Are you going to be able to make it back
Yeah, I'll be able
to
to make
jail?
it.
You're not going to.
I should be able to make it. No, I should be able to make it.
All right.
Hopefully they take me back upstairs right away.
Oh, instead of what, down in general holding or
Processing where you just sit.
sleep on the floor?
No, they'll take me back up to my
Oh,
unit,
okay.
but they kept me like, they brought me down a while ago, and I was just sitting there watching the prison rape elimination act over and over again. It was kind of draining. Taking precautions ever since that cop got busted in Alexandria for touching the girl.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't start that till then.
All right, big dog.
Alrighty.
You take it back down.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna got my keys all stuff here. They all.
Thank you. Okay.
There you go. All right.
Alright.
Good job.
All right, Jesse,
All right,
thanks.
no problem.
Just holler to these guys if you need to tell us anything else, okay?
Okay.
All
Hey,
right,
Greg, you guys
thanks.
ready?
No, fine.
Same way we can.
Okay.
Does anything need to be turned off in here?
We'll get it.
Okay.
What's up? You all done?